Hi, I'm Casey.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is
Magnum B.I, the true crime podcast where we add a social justice twist, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of banter, and whatever shakes loose.
It's a Magnum B.I. night. Magnum B.I. Woo! Yeah.
Coming to Broadway in 3 weeks.
We've been rehearsing so hard.
I know. Casey's in charge of the vocals, and I sit there and look pretty.
Yeah, she does lights, too.
Yeah, it's great.
You strike me as, like, one of those girls in high school who was in stage crew.
Shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
I was.
Yeah,
No, I was in the props department, so I was backstage running around, and I was like, okay, does everyone have their castanets? If you don't, come see Lauren, table 6.
Castanet, I had never even met her.
No, I mean, we did, oh God, what did we do for our last show? We did Footloose, and one of my friend's boyfriends was not the male lead, he was the preacher, I think, who is the father of the main male lead, and he was scary as all get out. I fucking hated that kid. He was terrifying.
And he played the antagonist, too,
yeah, he
so
did.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was very in character on and off stage.
I hope he's listening.
No, there's literally no way he would. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I ended up doing a case study on him. Anyways.
Okay, well, speaking of which,
our case for today is another case study onto a serial killer by the name of Belle Gunness, who goes by a couple different monikers, including the Lady Bluebeard and the Black Widow. Hey guys, it's Lauren.
And Casey.
From Magnum B.I. I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast as much as we are, but we would really appreciate it if you guys would take the time to give us a follow or rate the podcast on Spotify.
To subscribe or like on YouTube.
Or check out any of our other social medias. It makes a really big difference helping us get the podcast out there to a wider audience, so if you have a second, we would really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you, and enjoy the episode. Okay. So, Belle was born in 1859, November 11th, and she wasn't initially born as Belle. Her name was Brynhild Paulsdatter Storseth, because she was born in Norway, and she's a Scorpio.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't know. How do you feel about Scorpios?
I go back and forth.
Me too.
Yeah, because I'm a water sign, so obviously, I have an affinity for my brothers and sisters, whoever they may be. However, not the best experiences with Scorpios, but definitely not the worst. The one sign I detest is Pisces. I cannot stand Pisces.
I love a Pisces.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think I'd be deeply happy with a Pisces.
That's so
I think
sweet.
in a past life I was a Pisces.
Oh,
yeah.
That's really wholesome.
Yeah.
I've been burned by at least 3.
Okay.
So I'm done with fishing for now. I'm all set.
Reel in that net.
Yeah, no thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Brynhild, aka Belle, was born in Selbu, Norway on November 11th, 1859, to Paul and Berit Storseth. And her father was a stonemason, and she was the youngest of 8 children. So,
wow.
Very busy upbringing, lots of stuff happening on the farmstead. By the time she was 14, she was traveling around to neighboring houses, homesteads to herd cattle and milk cows, just doing lots of odd jobs to save up money because her dream was to immigrate to America.
Damn.
Really ascribing to the whole American dream thing. She's like, I gotta get out of Norway. I want to go to Chicago because her older sister immigrated there a couple years earlier. I think her name is Nellie.
Okay.
So
she wanted some deep dish.
Oh, yes, she did. She's like, what is it? I want to see the Cubs. I want some pizza. We're going to chill. It'll be great. So she's very money conscious from a young age. That's like her thing. She's very into money, which we're going to see follow her from young adulthood into adulthood. She, the notes in my phone call her the OG gold digger for a reason. Ooh. So we're going to dive into that as we go along.
Okay.
So, okay. Trigger warning before I forget. There's going to be mild descriptions of sexual assault, murder, and child death. So, we're getting into it. By 1876, when she's 17, she becomes pregnant with her first child, and the name and identity of the baby daddy are never recovered, because unfortunately, upon finding out that she was pregnant, the man beat her within an inch of her life to the point of miscarriage.
Whoa.
So, lots of trauma happening from a very young age, and sources say that this was, like, the catalyst for, you know, what's going to come later. Very drastic personality shift occurs. She's not a happy lady, for obvious reasons.
Damn.
So, coincidentally, the man disappears a month later.
Ooh.
So...
Okay, this one, I'm not going to say warranted.
No, I'm going to say it.
We can overlook that one.
That's unbelievably fucked up. So,
whoa, yeah.
We're not sure what happened because this is happening in the 1800s. There isn't a lot of solid record keeping happening. So, he could have just simply disappeared, relocated, or other sources say this could have been Brynhild's first killing. We're not sure.
Yikes.
I like to believe it was because fuck that guy.
Yeah,
that's awful.
Pikey, yeah.
So.
But also with these old cases, it's so crazy how, like, back then, you could just disappear.
Yeah, you could get away with anything.
With anything.
Yeah.
You could just move to a new city and change your name and never be seen again.
Exactly. And people wouldn't know until, like, years later when, like, you know, if there was, like, some kind of incriminating tattoo or dental work or, like, you know, the body's exhumed for whatever reason. And like, wait a minute, that's not so-and-so. Census data says they're this person.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore unless you have to jump through, like, you know, crazy hoops to, like, wipe your information off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to do. You got to pay a lot of money. I know that from Breaking Bad. It's very difficult. So, yeah, this guy disappears. Could have been killed, could have just left. We're not sure.
Okay.
So, now it's 1881. She's 22. She's immigrated to the United States and landed in New York. And she passes through immigration services in Castle Island and Americanizes her name from Brynhild to Belle. And, you know, just as a quick little side note, Castle Garden predated Ellis Island, and the reason that they got rid of Castle Garden is because of the rampant corruption that was going on there. So, like, all the immigration officials were, like, extorting people for money, like, scamming them, just all around being shitty. And the reason why I wanted to mention this is because I thought it was interesting. The Yiddish word, forgive me, Kesselgarten, comes from this place because it was so chaotic and fucked up and weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I
Very
didn't know that. I thought
Okay.
that was something worth mentioning.
Yeah.
So, she's in Chicago with her sister Nellie, and they move in together with Nellie's husband. She works a couple odd jobs, including domestic servitude, working at a butcher shop, breaking and carving down meat.
Oh.
So, that'll come into play a little later.
Uh-oh.
So, she knows her way around a knife. This much we're aware of. So, she's keeping busy, working odd jobs in Chicago, working hard, and her main focus at this point is securing a livelihood for herself because she's a single woman that, you know, immigrated from Norway, so her English isn't the best at this point, and she's by herself. So, at this point, if you're a single lady that immigrated from Europe and America, you're not looking at a very stable future if you decide to stay single. So what does she do? She finds herself a husband. So, to set up some of the things that are going to come later, a bunch of sources I found said that Belle was like a 10 out of 10. Smoking hot.
Okay.
Because, for the beauty standards of the time, they were very into, like, fuller-figured individuals. So Belle is thick. She's got, like, a 36-inch waist. She's got, like, you know, a fuller bust. She's blonde, blue-eyed. She's hot.
A fuller
Smoking
bust
hot.
is the nicest way of saying just A-plus knockers.
Big old hamalanga bagongas.
On this one, let me tell you.
Yeah, and the article that I was reading that was talking about this was like, you know, beauty standard of the time was Howard Taft. And that's, like, one of the presidents of the United States that was, like, one of the biggest people that has ever been in office. So we love him thick here in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So she finds a husband in 1884, a man by the name of Mads Sorensen. He worked as a department store watchman, and the two had a relatively normal marriage for like the first 10 or so years. They had a couple children, some of which were their own, and some of which they adopted/fostered.
Wow.
It's kind of unconfirmed how many children they ended up having, because Belle would, like, disappear and then come back with a kid, or she would, like, appear to be pregnant and not be pregnant anymore, and kids would appear and disappear. There was a lot of shuffling going around. Yes. So, I couldn't find the names of all the kids that came through their house, but here's, like, the first 4, I think. So, we have Jenny Olsen, who was a child that she fostered or was her niece. The records are unclear. And then we have Caroline, Axel, Myrtle, and Lucy, who are all her biological children from her and Mads being married. So, like I said, that doesn't include all the children. We'll get into that later.
So weird.
Yeah, she was, she's very into having a lot of children. We'll see why in a minute.
Okay.
So, Mads and Belle get a candy store in 1884, and they live, like, relatively quiet lives for the first couple years until the store starts becoming a money sinkhole. They start losing money. Mm-hmm. So, coincidentally, the store burns down the same year.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
convenient.
While the police suspected arson, the couple was able to collect money from the insurance policy they'd taken out on the candy store, like, a couple months prior, and they got away with it. Like, wow. They were pretty much like, yeah, you probably committed arson, but we're not going to look into it. So, they collect a decent sum of money from that. And I'm pretty sure that this is kind of the reason that this becomes her MO. She realizes that insurance companies at this time are not going to be looking into, like, foul play, so much so that they're just like, oh, your house burned down, that's so sad, have some money.
Oof.
So she starts to realize that she can get away with doing this because their house coincidentally burns down a couple years later, and they collect more money on a previous policy that Belle had taken out. So the couple is starting to realize that they can game the system. The police suspect that they're up to no good, but what are they going to do? Yeah. You can't blame anything. There's no DNA evidence. There's no cameras. There's no nothing. They're just like, well, it's kind of weird that both those things burned down. But what are you going to do? Fires happen.
Yeah.
So, the same year, their candy store burns down. Their children, Axel and Caroline, unfortunately pass away in infancy.
Oh.
So the official cause of death on the coroner's report was acute colitis, which is basically a bowel inflammation, which we know now, in the future, can be linked to something called strychnine poisoning.
Ooh.
So, what is strychnine? It's the shit they put in rat poison.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, we're starting to get a clearer picture of why Belle is adopting all these kids, and they're disappearing under mysterious circumstances.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and she's taking out policies on these kids that she's fostering, adopting, and giving birth to, and then they mysteriously disappear, and she collects the money.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And that alone is shady, because who takes an insurance policy out on an infant?
Yep.
Like, that alone is a red flag.
It's very foul.
Yeah.
So, she's a nasty, nasty lady.
Yeah. Ugh.
So, symptoms of strychnine poisoning include muscle stiffness, spasms, respiratory distress, and at high enough doses, brain death.
Ugh.
Grisly as those are, we need to keep those in mind. So, since the children's deaths were ruled accidental, Belle was able to collect $8,000 in life insurance payouts, which, adjusted for inflation nowadays, is more than $260,000.
Whoa.
Yes. So she's looking at these kids like, I got a gold mine in my house.
Oh my god.
And I think that kind of set off something in her brain to the point where she's like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And she fully commits to, like, this insurance fraud insanity. Because I think, I don't know, at least as a person, I don't think if I ever had kids, I would kill them.
No, I like to think that you wouldn't.
No, I don't think I would. So my
as the mother of two rats.
As the mother of two baby boys.
Yeah, two little baby boys.
I think in my mind, that would be the last thing, that would be the last thing on my mind that I would ever want to kill.
Oh my God, yeah.
At that point, once you've crossed that line, there's no going back.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's only gonna get worse from here.
No.
We've reached 1900, the turn of the century. So, after their house burned down that same year, Belle takes out 2 separate life insurance policies on her husband, Mads. The first of which is a $2,000 policy, and the second is a $3,000 life insurance policy. Coincidentally, there is one day where both policies overlap.
Oh my God.
When do you think he dies?
I mean that day.
Yes, he dies that day.
Whoa.
So...
Now, I don't know if you're going to get to this, but if he saw that she took 2 life insurance policies out on him, after knowing that their 2 buildings have burned down and 2 of their children have died, wouldn't he be like, oh, no.
I really don't know what was going through his mind, because I'm pretty sure when the candy store and their house burned down, they both got the money from it. They both had the payout. So I'm assuming, and unfortunately there are no sources to substantiate this, but he must have been in on it. That's my guess. Because, if both of those buildings just so happen to burn down, and they both collect substantial sums of money from both of those buildings burning down, you don't think he'd be like, there's a pattern here.
Yeah.
But she would never do that to me.
Ugh.
But she would never do that to me.
Don't trust her, Madge.
No, we can't trust Belle. So, both policies would remain active on the day before the first was set to expire and the second had just begun, which was the 30th of July, 1900. So, according to Belle, Mads came home from work that day with a splitting headache. She gave him some quinine powder, which was like a common painkiller at the time, for the pain, and helped him lay down for a nap while she cooked dinner. By the time she came to fetch him for their food, he had died of either a brain hemorrhage or heart failure. Sources kind of conflict on that. He was 45 years old.
Wow.
So, we have 3 separate doctors' accounts on what happened here, because there was quite a bit of mismanagement of this case, considering the fact that Belle had her little fingers in all of it. She was manipulating the shit out of these people. So, here's the 3 most interesting accounts I could find on Mads' death report. So, the first doctor that they brought in, that was tasked with examining Sorensen's body, concluded that Mads had been poisoned. He was like, this man has been poisoned. He is
Point blank,
dead.
yeah.
Point blank, period. But Belle convinced him not to look into it any further. I don't know how she did that.
Yeah.
Realistically, I don't know how she could have done that. But
maybe with her A+ Taft body.
with her Marilyn Monroe body, yada yada.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Excuse me, but yeah, I mean, regardless of the fact that the doctor initially concluded that it was poisoning, and Mads' family was like, hey, there's some foul play going on here, you need to reopen this case. The police were like, nah, we're good.
Oh.
So, police negligence.
Come on, y'all.
Love that. The next case was the family doctor who Belle produced. She's like, yeah, this is our guy. He'd been undergoing treatment for a condition, quote unquote, called enlarged heart, which I'm assuming translates to some kind of difficulty breathing.
Okay.
And as we know from our previous discussion of the long-term exposure effects of strychnine poisoning, depressed breathing is one of them. So she could have been poisoning him for a longer period of time and then just up the dose on the day when both of the policies converged to get the money payout.
That's the most insane thing I've ever heard.
But if she's cooking and cleaning for him, making all these meals, it's not a stretch to assume she could have, slipped a little something in his drink, something nasty. But, honestly, like I said previously, it's a miracle that she was able to get away with any of this initially, because the first doctor was like, that's poisoning. And she was like, no, it's just enlarged heart. It's whatever.
Yeah,
so,
that's crazy. Yeah.
I don't know how she did that. But, let's see. And then the final doctor that went through this case hypothesized that foul play was involved, but for a different reason. He was like, what did he say? He assumed that Belle's pharmacist may have accidentally given her morphine instead of quinine powder, which, you know, at that dose would have definitely killed him. However, coincidentally, Belle had thrown out the script for the prescription she'd picked up, and no one thought to look into that further, so that was just the end of that trail. Which
they just dropped it there.
Yeah,
they didn't go to the pharmacy.
They didn't check the trash can. They were like, nah, you know what? It's gone forever.
And also, like, not to, like, shit on the doctor, but I like that the doctor was just like, oh, I mean, the pharmacist messed up. Like, that's such a weird hoop to jump through logically.
I honestly think that a lot of this, or a lot of the way she was able to get away with this stuff is, like, stupid woman syndrome. They were just like, oh, she couldn't have done that. She's just a woman.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she just accidentally gave her husband a lethal dose of morphine. Stupid woman.
She's not even from the States.
Yeah,
like, come on.
Oh, this poor immigrant lady doesn't know what she's doing. No, absolutely not. So, let's see. Yep, she threw out the receipt. They didn't look into it further. Crazy. As a result, Belle was able to cash out both of the life insurance policies for a joint sum of $168,000.
Which, in their money or in our money?
Oh, back then it was $5,000, but now it's $168,000. Okay.
Oh.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
So, we have, let me see. We have $178,000 from her kids dying, and now we have $168,000 from her husband dying. So, what's a girl to do with that much money? She moves to Indiana, obviously.
What?
So, she takes the money and uproots her remaining children and family and moves to Indiana to purchase a pig farm because she has that skill, the butchering from earlier in life. She's like, fresh start, let's get out of here, let's go to Indiana.
Okay, of all the things in the world that I thought you were going to tell me she would do with her money, a pig farm in Indiana?
Definitely not my first choice.
No.
I probably would have gone on to live a life of debauchery as, like, a crazy old widow.
Yeah.
But
if I'm, like, a crazy old widow in 1900 Chicago, I'm going to, like, go be a socialite. I'm going to do all of it.
And to top it off, you're smoking hot.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to lose? Pig farm? All right, fine. Whatever. So she takes her kids, the ones that are still alive, and moves them to LaPorte, Indiana, where she gets the pig farm in 1902. Now, you know, whether it's a desire for companionship or a hunger for more money, she decides that her new life in Indiana needs something else. A new man. So she meets her newest suitor, Belle Gunness, in 1902, from which she took his surname, and now she is Belle Gunness. And that's, you know, roll credits. Yeah. There she is.
That is kind of a really dope name. I'll give it to her. That is a really nice name.
She's a crazy, nasty bitch, but she's a baddie.
Yeah.
she knows what she's doing. So
I'm looking up a picture of her as you speak.
I
need to see her body.
You need to see the body, yaddy, yaddy. So, unfortunately, the same year they were married, Peter's infant daughter from a previous marriage died of mysterious causes in Belle's care.
Oof.
Again, the pattern repeating itself.
Yeah.
They later had another child together named Philip. I don't think he ends up dying. I'll have to double check that.
I hope
we'll
not.
see. Like all of her previous suitors, Belle took out a life insurance policy on her new husband, and 8 months later, he died in a freak accident where a meat grinder fell on his head.
Oh my god!
Killing him instantly. So, apparently, she, like, you know, ran into town completely distraught and was like, oh my god, my husband just died.
I have the worst luck of any person in the world.
Yes, exactly. People kept saying that, like, a black cloud was following her because she had all this bad luck.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah, it sure does. So, you know, regardless, this time the coroner in Indiana is like, wait a second, girly. We're going to take you to court for this because this is actually really scary. They suspected her of foul play. However, be it because the jury of Indiana was, like, you know, unaware of all this crazy shit she did in Chicago.
Yeah.
Or they were charmed by her good looks, she was able to get off scot-free.
God.
Yep.
This lady.
So, as a result, she was able to collect his $3,000 life insurance policy, which in 2022 money is $97,000.
Damn.
So she is just racking it up, gaming the system like crazy.
Oh my God.
She's got it going on.
Yeah.
She's got it happening. So, by this point, she's grown a lot bolder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the money from the pig farm, the thrill of like seeking these men out and killing them just isn't enough. So, what does she do? Find more men.
Yep.
So,
quit while you're ahead.
you would think so, right?
Yeah.
I would just be like, you know what, I'm gonna hang with my pigs.
Yeah.
And like all
And my
4.
surviving children.
Yeah, like all 4 of the kids I haven't killed yet. And
Yeah.
it'll be fine. We'll just chill on the farm because we have so much money. Like, I can't even imagine the buying power of $97,000 in 1900.
Yeah.
That's still a lot of money now.
Yeah.
That's an insane amount of money now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. So, we have the 1900s equivalent of Marilyn Monroe on the hunt for a husband. How does one find a suitor? The 19th century equivalent of Tinder entailed posting in a lonely singles column in the newspaper. So she would put out these ads in a Norwegian language-based newspaper called the Minneapolis, oh God, that's a Norwegian word, Tidende? I'm not sure, I'm going to have to fix that. That was based out of Chicago. So she's putting out these ads by 1905, and through the newspaper column, she meets 2 more men named Henry Gerholt and John Moe. Henry arrives at the Gunness farm with a dowry of $1,000, which is $31,000 in today's money, and, you know, shows up expecting her hand in marriage.
He was just going to pay her the equivalent of $31,000 to marry him?
What she would do is she would correspond with these men over the course of a couple months, like get them to fall in love with her, and then she would be like, hey, why don't you take out your life savings, move to Indiana with me in secret, and we can get married, and it'll be awesome. And they would be like, yes, excellent, I am on my way.
Whoa.
So she had a pretty good system going. She was just bagging them left and right. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So Henry kept in touch with his family for a couple months after arriving at the farm. His last letter to them was like requesting that they send him a bag of potatoes. And then he disappeared and was never seen again, which is really awful.
Yeah.
So, that was Henry. And
also,
then,
you just gave this girlie $31,000. You can buy a bag of potatoes.
I know.
You'll be fine.
I don't know why he was, like, writing to his mom, like, hey, I just hooked up with this beautiful lady in Indiana. Anyways, can you send me potatoes? XOXO, love Henry. Like,
I'm with this widow with 4 kids.
Uh-huh.
And a pig farm.
Yeah, there's lots of pigs. They all seem to have human eyes. It's really weird. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, send potatoes.
Thanks, love you.
So, literally, I cannot imagine. Like, definitely because I've consumed so much true crime, I'm thinking to myself, there is no way anyone, number 1, would be attractive enough. Number 2, would have enough money for me to be like, let me just uproot everything.
Yeah.
And go to Indiana?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. On a pig farm.
On a pig farm.
Yeah.
Like, that is the least attractive place and thing you could go to do. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I guess she was super hot. I'm really not sure. Like,
Damn. Yeah.
let's go Belle, you crazy bitch.
Belle.
So, John Moe unfortunately suffers the same fate. Carpenters that would occasionally do work on the pig farm and the farmhouse would later recall seeing his traveling case amongst a collection of more than a dozen others piled up inside the house.
Ooh.
So at this point, we're not even sure how many people Belle has, snagged and killed, but there's a bunch of, traveling trunks that she has in the house, and, other random personal effects from these people that she just so happens to meet, and then they disappear.
It's like trophies. Like, she's keeping, mementos.
Exactly, yeah. Just I'm trying to think of, a modern serial killer who did the same thing. I don't know. I feel like Ted Bundy did, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I think he did. He kept heads, I think.
Ugh, nasty man.
Nasty man.
Nasty man. Yeah. So, around this time, Her foster daughter, Jenny Olsen, goes to school in California. I'm using lots of air quotes here.
Okay.
She's never seen again.
Come on, Belle.
Yep. So nothing and nobody is off limits at this point. Yeah. So at this point, what year are we in? We're 1905. So by this point, again, we have no idea how many people Belle has killed, or like how many people have disappeared on the farm property. And we never really get an exact number, unfortunately, because of the nature in which the crimes were revealed. So, in 1908, Belle is engaged to her last suitor, a man by the name of Andrew Helgelin. He withdraws his life savings, gives her the money, and mysteriously disappears.
Oh my god.
The same year, on March 28th, 1908, the Gunness farm is burned to the ground, killing Belle and the remaining living children.
Whoa, what?
She was 49. So...
That's a plot twist.
I know, you didn't see that coming, did you?
No.
So, including Belle, the remains of 11 other adult humans were recovered on the farm.
Oh, so 10 others, like her and 10 others.
No, her and 11 others, so 12 bodies
12 altogether.
total, including the bodies of her children. So I think that's 16 total, I'm pretty sure, because there were 4 kids.
Whoa.
So most of the remains were recovered, not in the farmhouse specifically, but in shallow graves that pig pens had been built on top of. Oh. So once the house had caught on fire and people showed up, they're like, holy shit, the house is on fire. They tried to put it out. They tried to open the doors. Everything was locked. They couldn't get in. They couldn't save anyone.
Oof.
So they start investigating the property, and they start noticing these, like, weird mounds all over the property where the pig pens are built.
Oh my god.
And when they start exhuming those mounds, they find burlap sacks with human remains in them.
Oh my god.
Yep. So one of the bodies was identified thanks to a paper trail that was left behind by Andrew, Belle's last suitor. So there were a bunch of letters that were recovered by Andrew's brother, whose name is another Norwegian name. I think it's Azel or Isle. I'm not sure, unfortunately. His brother finds the letters that had been corresponding between Belle and Andrew, basically saying that she seduced him, instructed him to withdraw his life savings, and moved to Indiana in secret. So he wasn't even aware that his brother was in Indiana.
Whoa.
After finding the letters, though, he was like, oh shit. Goes to Indiana, and after the burlap sack is exhumed, he is able to identify his brother by the hands, feet, and head found in the sack.
Oh my god. Imagine having to identify him.
I cannot imagine. Like, I would be devastated. I would be so distraught over all of that. It's hard to imagine, genuinely.
And also just thinking your brother's safe and sound, and then literally one morning, you're like, oh no, he was buried on a pig farm in Indiana.
In a burlap sack.
In a burlap sack.
There's only bits of him left.
Yeah.
It's awful. Unfortunately, Jenny Olsen's body is recovered in the same grave.
Oof.
Her foster daughter.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of bad shit going on this farm.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, due to the volume of remains recovered and the state of decomposition most of them were in, most of the body parts remain unidentified to this day. Which is awful.
That's so heartbreaking.
So, heavy shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have some conspiracies.
Okay.
So, interestingly, we know from her first marriage to Mads Sorensen that Gunness has a history of arson.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, coincidentally, she'd actually written her last will and testament the day before the farm caught on fire.
Convenient.
Yep.
Her timing is always impeccable.
Oh, I know. You know, considering she's got that, you know, quote-unquote black cloud of bad luck following her, she always seems to, you know, figure shit out right at the exact minute.
She sure do.
So, for that exact reason, there's a conspiracy theory that the female corpse recovered from the barn fire wasn't Belle. So...
Oh, that took a minute to click. Oh.
So the corpse that they actually recovered from the fire, they like recovered a female body.
Yeah.
Her head was missing. But since it was the 1800s, they're like, oh, this is a female corpse and Belle Gunness lives here, so this must be Belle.
And no one was like,
how did she cut her own head off?
Yeah.
What? So that was, a big shocker. They're like, it doesn't take a genius to assume that there was some foul play involved.
Yeah.
Like, even if whether or not the body is or isn't Belle, why is there a headless female corpse that was recovered on this farm?
That's terrifying.
Yep. So, if that body is actually Belle, I would like to believe that it was some guy that she tried to seduce, and he figured everything out, and he set this whole place on fire and killed her.
And decapitated her.
Yeah. As revenge.
Yeah, I guess.
I
guess.
If,
And killed her kids, too. Like, she'd have to find someone equally as crazy.
That's a perfect segue. Next theory. So, another theory is that the whole thing was staged according to an on and off lover by the name of Ray Lamphere. So the two of them had a relationship that was like back and forth for years, and they were, according to him, partners in crime and partners in life. So he claimed to be involved with the burning of the farmhouse and stated that he had killed a woman of similar stature to Belle before planting the corpse in the farmhouse and setting the whole thing ablaze so she could escape in the ensuing chaos.
Whoa.
Right? So she's got bitches. She's got crazy bitches.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But this guy didn't escape with her then.
No, she left him behind.
Oh.
So she fully seduced this man, had him confess to basically everything to try and take the fall, and disappeared, according to this conspiracy theory. So, another thing that I think makes this the more credible theory of the two is that when he was arrested, he was wearing John Moe's overcoat.
Okay.
One of the suitors from, years ago. And Henry, the other suitor from years ago, he was wearing his watch.
Oof.
So, I think this guy's very guilty.
This one has legs.
I think this one is very guilty.
Yeah.
So, to add more water to this theory, the corpse that they recovered that was supposed to be Belle was 5 inches shorter and 50 pounds lighter than her.
Okay. So not her.
They straight up were like, this very clearly is not Belle Gunness. But because the corpse was burned, they didn't have dental records or DNA, the cops were like, I don't know.
Y'all.
I don't know.
Work just a little, I'm not at all telling cops to work harder, but these ones need to work a little harder.
A little more than the bare minimum.
Yeah, maybe.
So, he, despite the fact that this guy confessed, had physical evidence on his person, and, gave a description of the corpse that was like, this is clearly not Belle. She got away. They were like, that's Belle. She's dead now.
This is her farm.
Yeah, this is her farm, and that's a woman, so this must be the woman on the farm. Are you guys not connecting the dots?
She's wearing a dress. Belle wore dresses. What do you mean?
Yeah. So the coroner ruled that the corpse was Belle, and they basically ended it there.
That's crazy.
Yep. So that is the story of Belle Gunness, who more than 100 years later leaves behind a trail of mystery, more than 20 victims, and honestly, one of the craziest gold digger stories I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Bitches are always like, I hate a gold digger, yada, 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 this, that, the other thing on TikTok, but it's like, have you killed 5 or 6 different men?
Yeah, and all of your children.
To collect their life insurance policies.
Wow.
For shits and giggles.
It's just because she wanted her little American dream.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, who knows? I mean, she could be dead on that farm. Maybe the coroner was right. I think she escaped Indiana when she was 49 and completely started a new life.
I think so, too.
Whether that means, she was off killing people or she turned over a new leaf, did something new, we don't know.
Yeah.
She's gone, and we'll never really know because that was more than 100 years ago.
And I think, I mean, I know nothing about her personality outside of what you literally just told me seconds ago, but I think she would have wanted everyone to still have an air of mystery around her when they look back. You know what I mean? Like, honestly. I think she'd be so happy to know that she's still leaving questions unanswered.
Honestly, yeah. She seems like the kind of bitch that's like, I'm gonna stir the pot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cause as much chaos as I can, and then I'm gonna disappear.
She's probably like 170 years old right now in Wyoming at an alpaca farm. Like,
that would be crazy.
Killing left and right.
Instead of pigs, she's graduated. They have fur now. It's crazy.
Yeah. She has shears.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm going to make a sweater, and then I'm going to gut you like a pig. That's not funny.
Wow, yeah. That's crazy.
But, yeah, that's Belle Gunness.
Well, thank you for that case, Lauren.
I'm glad you liked it.
That was just slightly less traumatizing than your one 2 weeks ago.
I know, I need to pick ones that aren't as icky, but I feel like after Gilbert, I had to come up with a lady that was equally as nasty, because we're all for feminism here on this podcast.
Nasty girls.
Yeah, nasty ladies. Woo! All that good shit.
Let me tell you.
She, the Black Widow, the Black Belle, Lady Bluebeard, they give these bitches such cool names for such nasty shit.
They really do.
They really do.
I know. I don't know why killers need, like, these cool names. I don't think they do. But
it's definitely, like, for publicity's sake.
Yeah.
And I know it's catchy. But at the same time, let's just start calling them, like, I don't know, stinky poo-poo.
Yeah.
Like, something that'll, de-incentivize them.
To sell papers?
Yeah. And to, like, I don't know, there's probably some weird person that's like, I want to be the Ripper or something. No,
like, fully. Yeah. So, and Belle Gunness alone is a cool name, so she could have just stuck with that.
She could have, but they were like, nah, we're gonna call her the Lady Bluebeard because she's a pirate.
Ow. So next week, I have an exciting case coming up.
You do?
I keep doing, like, weird little, like, unsolved adjacent cases.
Right.
Well, you keep doing, like...
murder.
Blood, gore. But that's because you were a stage crew kid and I wasn't.
Oh, my God. Wait. Were you ever a theater kid or did you dodge that bullet entirely?
Okay. All right. Well, I did lights. So I can't really talk.
This is stage crew on stage crew crime. The audacity.
I did lights for 2 years in middle school.
Oh, come on.
And they pre-programmed the lights, and I just had a copy of the script, and I would press, like, next each time my cue hit.
I can't believe this.
I'm sorry. I kind of enjoyed it.
Just fucking with me.
I'm just being mean to you.
Next week's case is on Casey. I'm gonna get him. I'm kidding.
You heard it here first, everybody. Help.
If he mysteriously disappears, do not suspect me. It has nothing to do with me. I definitely am not going to take out an insurance life policy on you or anything.
Imagine if you went to State Farm tomorrow and were like, I need an insurance policy on my friend.
Jake from State Farm, I have a claim I'd like to make. And he's standing there in his khakis like, who the fuck are you?
I'm claiming Casey.
I'm claiming Casey Adrian.
Next week, I am going to be doing the case of Agatha Christie.
Oh, she wrote those books.
She wrote those books.
Oh, that's so exciting.
She wrote those books, and she was a very smart woman who made a very mysterious choice one night. And we'll get into it next week.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
It's a really interesting one.
Ooh, that'll be so exciting.
Yeah, so a couple of old timies right in a row.
Excellent.
Now has come to the point in the show in which I guess Lauren's middle name. Mm-hmm. I know it starts with a B. Mm-hmm. I've tried Brenda, Bernadette, Beverly. Mm-hmm. I have one. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm committing.
I promised him I would give him a hint if he didn't get it this time because I feel bad.
Bonnie.
No.
All right, what's the hint?
Okay, the hint is the second letter is E.
Okay.
B-E.
B-E.
Yep.
All right. Next week, ladies.
You're going to get it next week?
I got it next time. Because I have a notes app list in my phone, so I'll narrow it down.
I have a feeling you're going to be guessing for quite a while. We'll do this like Wordle. I'll keep giving you more letters. I'm
so bad at Wordle, but I do it every day.
I know. I'm like, time to fail another Wordle, and here we go.
Well, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are.
This has been
I'm
a
having
ton
a
of fun.
great time.
I'm having a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Magnum B.I.
B.I. Bye.